An idea when it comes to all those betting platforms, sending coupons to customers, like a free bet, and this is to a customer that's already with them, not a brand new customer. This is a really a smart idea that I'm going to share, and I'm hoping this will motivate all the betting platforms to send out free bets to their customers more often and for a bigger amount. So let's say $20 or $50, even a $50 bet, a $50 free bet. So, like they send sometimes in the emails to some customers, sometimes they'll send you, they'll say, we'll give you $1 if you spend 100, and that's DraftKings. And it's just, I don't know where they came up with that. That's like, just, before they would sometimes send you a $10 to use towards casino games or to put a bet. And of course, every time the company sends you $10 or $5 or $2 or a dollar as a bet, if you win, they always collect that amount back. So basically, it's just part of the process of it, and that's understandable, because but it's only if you win. Of course, if you don't win, then it's different. But to explain this process, I don't know why they haven't realized it, because it's such a potential. Instead of sending just $1 for $100 to waste for a customer to spend $100, to give them $1. It's like, I don't know what happened with DraftKings. It's supposed to be a big company that before would give $10 credits to customers to use, and now they go with it's just $1 and you have to spend 100. It just boggles my mind. That's like, that just boggles my mind. But anyways, that's a different topic, but in itself, I think really it's really the worst offer you can give it to a customer. And it's the worst offer ever, But anyways, the $10 idea, they were onto something with the $10 credit. But anyways, but this solution here is just, this idea that I'm going to share is to help to improve this kind of logic, and hopefully with every betting platform. Some betting platforms once in a while give you $5 credit. Sometimes once in a while, usually it's $5 nowadays. It's usually $5 or sometimes maybe a 10. But so I'm just going to concentrate on the free bet credit, because the potential is the company is making the money back if the customer wins. So if the customer, places a bet and it wins, the company will subtract the amount they gave to the customer. If it was a 5, they'll subtract the 5. If it was a 10, they'll subtract the 10, and the customer keeps the rest. So the idea here is to bring in a coupon that's $20 or $50. $50 is even better, $50 for each customer from time to time to send to them and say, this is a free bet, on the company. But to change the rules, and the same as sometimes they have the rules for certain coupons, that the requirements are to pick a team on 200 or more odds, 200 plus, not 100%, but 200% or more odds. So they have to find a team where it's at 200% or more, not less. And they already have, requirements sometimes in coupons where you cannot pick anything less than like 175 negative or something. I forget. There's so many requirements sometimes when it comes to the odds. Sometimes there's certain odds you have to pick, in order to qualify for the coupon. So this particular coupon, the odds requirements it's not 100%, but it's 200% plus or more. So when a customer picks a team at 200 with the $50 amount, that means they're going to win $150. So in return, what the company can do is subtract twice the amount they gave, just for playing the game, for allowing the customer to use the free bet. So basically, if we're giving the 50, they're going to subtract 100. Because the instructions, all they have to do is change the requirements in the coupon. So you have to pick a game that's 200% plus or more. As a result, when you win, the company will collect twice the free amount that they gave. Not the one, just only one amount, $50, but twice. And it's just easy to add into the coupon. We'll have to collect twice. So this way, the company's going to make $100 and the customer was going to make $50. But this is on 200% or more of the odds, 200% plus, not negative. But what if the customer picks the team on 400%? So 400%, that means the customer is going to win $300. So out of that $300, the company is going to subtract the 250s. So instead of subtracting 150 like always before, if they usually didn't give 50s, usually it would be, well, it really varies. Sometimes they give more. It depends. Some companies do give out a bit more based on deposit match and stuff like that. So that's true. So, but they usually always subtract that one amount that they give you. If it's 20, if it's 30, if it's 50, whatever it is, they'll subtract that one amount from your win. In this case, because the coupon requirement is 200% or more, that means the customer is going to win, obviously more than they would win on 100% odds. So because they're going to win more, the company can take twice the amount that they gave back to them into the fund, so they can send out more coupons to everyone more often to their customers that they already have. This actually will motivate the customers to appreciate the company for being generous, and at the same time they have an opportunity to win. And if they pick and win, they have money to spend. If they have money to spend, well, then guess what? They're probably going to spend a little bit more on some other teams, or maybe spend some more on the casino games. And this helps the company with their business in that sense. Or they'll just keep the money and be happy with it and pay their bills. The best thing, is to pay your bills off, pay your credit cards off. That's really the best from a Christian perspective. The idea is if you win by picking the team based on performance, if you have this extra money, pay off your credit cards, pay off your bills, and of course have a little bit to play, continue to play, and hopefully win some more. And just the idea is always pay off your credit cards, pay off your bills, any kind of bills you have, your collections. If you have collections, perfect your credit history. It's such an opportunity. But of course, be careful and not lose, right? This is the other side of it, what to do with the win. I mean, that's one of the options, obviously. The beneficial options, from a Christian perspective, get yourself out of debt, try to have less debt as possible. A nice opportunity to play a game or pick a team, and if you win, have extra money, spend it, pay off your credit card, pay off your debt. That's the suggestion from a Christian perspective. Sometimes people just get stuck with the money, just playing with it all the time and not doing nothing with it. But the idea is sometimes you have credit cards and you have, always remember that if you have credit cards, you probably have some bills that you have some debt that you could really, really use some of this money to pay it off. Don't get stuck and just putting money on the team and keeping that money in there and doing nothing with it. Because sometimes you make some mistakes and lose all of it or most of it, and then before you know it, you're like, it's like it becomes useless. It's like the idea is to make some money and pay off your bills, pay off your credit card bills, pay off any bills, and get out of debt. Really, that's really the huge benefit. Or save up money for something. I think it's so easy to, if you win, just pay off your credit cards. It's so easy, and you did something positive for yourself. You helped yourself that way, and it's really such a wonderful thing to do. More credit, and then whenever you're ready to buy something, you can use your credit card to buy something. So it's a wonderful thing. But anyways, going back to the coupon, this $50 coupon. This coupon, the customers will appreciate the company. The customers, if they win, they'll have money, and they probably will spend some of it to play other games or put on some other teams. If they win, they'll have more, and so the customer will keep on putting money into the company, so it benefits the company. The company is not losing anything by giving a credit. When they give a credit, they're not putting any money into it. They're just saying, okay, this person has some credit. Okay, we're giving this person $50 credit. So when the person is actually picking a team, if they win, the company didn't put any money into it whatsoever, no expense. All they did was send you an email saying, here's a $50 coupon, free bet, come into our company, put it on any team you like, and see what happens. So the customer goes back into the company, to the betting platform, puts the money, puts it on the team, the person wins, but you have to select, the requirement is you have to select 200% or more. So we have to find a game where it's at 200% or more. So if the customer picks at 200, and then the customer wins, it becomes a $150 win. From that $150 win, the requirements in the coupon states, the requirement in the coupon states, the company will collect twice the amount given back to the company. So that means twice the amount. They give you 50, so they're going to collect 100. So before it would have been just the 50 they'll subtract and you will get the rest. In this case, because it's a big amount and they're going to send it more often to customers, they need more money back into that fund. But technically speaking, they're actually making money because they're really giving you just a credit. And if you win, it's just money out of nowhere going to them. They just made $100 because you made a 50. And they just made 100 by just giving you a credit. It's like a return for them giving you a credit, but they're not putting any money of their own at all into it. And then, but if you lose, if your customer loses, then the company has to put up the money and pay off the loss. But if you look at the technicality of the calculations of all these people putting bets on teams, and look at the logic of the company sometimes itself puts money on the teams. Sometimes the employees that work for the company I'm assuming they probably even use the fund from the company itself to put money on certain teams. If they win, they put that money into the fund because the company sometimes wants to make additional money for themselves. So they might even have a department of people that work for them that put bets on other teams, and they take the money to put those bets out of that company, the same betting platform that the customer is with that got the coupon from. So all they have to do is redirect the person with the coupon that they gave to the person that's their employee that put a bet against the person. So in that case, if the customer with the coupon loses, the win's supposed to go to the person that's from their company. So it's like them taking the $50 from themselves and giving it to their employee that works for them and says, here's the 50 because the customer lost. So the employee takes the 50, puts it in the fund to the same betting platform company, to the same company. So the company's not losing any money whatsoever. All they have to do is redirect everyone with the coupon, the $50 coupon, to their employees to bet against their employees in the sense of it. But the idea is that's only if they lose. And the company decides who they pay, from which fund they pay out anyways. And let's say they have two funds. Let's say they have the fund from the company and the employees to take out money to put on the other team. And then they have the fund from everybody else that send money to put on the other team. So they can always switch it around in the sense of if the customer wins with the coupon, then they're going to switch that towards some other person that bet against the customer. So because other people are also betting against other people besides the people that are employees. And those two funds that the companies have, I'm using as an example. I'm not 100% sure if they have those two funds or they're different or not. But as an example, there's a possibility if they have their own employees betting on other teams against other customers, against customers, and putting money on other teams, the same as regular people are putting money on other teams against other people. And so in the sense of if there's a win from the coupon, all they do is redirect that win towards another customer that's going to be paying because that customer picked the other team, right? And the other customer lost. So what happens is that customer is going to pay the win to the customer with the coupon. But if it's a loss, they can redirect that loss to their employee. And so as a result of that, the customer that with the coupon has to pay the 50 to the employee, but it's a free coupon. It's a credit from the company, the same company that has the same employee working for them. So the company is supposed to pay for the customer and say, okay, the customer has no money because we gave him the credit. So the customer lost. So here's the $50, but they're giving this $50 to whom? To their own employee that works for them because he also picked the other team that won. And so as a result of it, they're paying really to themselves and putting that same 50 back into their own account. So the company ends up losing nothing, absolutely nothing. If this is set up this way, and maybe it was always set up this way, I don't know. But the fact that they only send $5 coupons, but sometimes they match deposits and stuff. They give you a little more. To $20, $30, $40, $50. It varies. Sometimes it's even more when the deposit match once in a while. But here's the idea once again. The company is not losing any money whatsoever because they have this additional fund that the employees take money from to bet against other people. And so when the person that they send the $50 coupon to loses, they redirect that person to their employee, and so instead of paying the other person, they're paying the employee. But everything is legal and fair because the employee is betting just like everyone else is betting. They pick a team and they think this team is going to win. And now this customer that has a coupon decided to think that the other team is going to win. So and the other team, let's say, did not win. So now the company has to pay on the customer's behalf. But all these people, and the company can pick and choose whom they want to pay out of all these people that picked the other team. They paid their employee, or they paid some other person that's a random customer. But it's up to them to choose who they want to pay. Because they have all these people that won picking the other team, and some of them are their employees that work by just picking teams and trying to get extra money for the company. And some employees bet separately. Some employees, I'm assuming some employees work for the company and from the company's fund bet also on teams. And if the team wins, they collect the money and put it in the fund. So I'm assuming this, you think that they might have that. So it's really legal in a way that when they're paying that loss for the customer because they give them the credit, that $50, they'll just pay to the employee that the customer owes also. The person with the coupon owes it to any one of these people who picked the other team. As long as one of their employees picked that other team, all the company has to do is pay that employee the 50. And then that 50 is going to go back into the company. So that way the company really doesn't lose anything at all, but it has the potential of making more money because if the customer actually wins, then the customer and the company are going to collect the win from other customers that picked the other team. See, so basically, they're going to collect from the fund of all those customers that picked the other team. And so it's like this is a fund that's the company's fund, and there's a fund that's every customer's fund. And when they pick a certain team, that money gets collected into that fund. And so if that team loses, the company pays out of that fund to the people that picked the right team. So I'm trying to explain this scenario to the companies, to the betting platforms themselves. In this situation, they're not losing any money whatsoever if they have it set up this way. And I'm assuming they have it set up that way. But I'm assuming they're trying to make extra money by betting also on teams. And they have employees doing it from their fund. And if they win, they win. If they don't, they don't. I'm assuming they have something like that. But this part of it is when, if the person with the coupon, their customer with the coupon loses, they have to pay somebody. Either they pay their employees that picked that other team, or they pay the other customer that picked the other team. Well, of course, why would the company gonna take money from the other customer, give money to the other customer? Because that's going to be taken care of by other people that picked with their own money. But this coupon person, what they do is they direct it to their employee because this person now owes their employee because their employee picked the other team. And so they're paying on his behalf. They're giving this employee a 50. And this employee puts this 50 back into their fund because it's their employee that won. So it's basically in this situation, they're not losing anything. But if the customer wins, then they're going to direct that win towards the fund from every other customer. So then from that fund, they're going to collect the 150. And they're going to take from that 150, they're going to take 100 for themselves into their fund. See, they're going to be making extra money, and they're not risking a cent if they're set up this way. And then they're going to pay the customer the coupon of $50. And the benefit is they're making money on every win, twice the amount of credit that they gave to the customer. But that's it. So if the customer picked a team on 400%, the customer ends up winning $300. The only thing they will collect is 100, 2 times the 50. So it's a 50 and not a 50 instead of just 150. They'll collect 100. The customer keeps 200. So the customer is happy. They get a $50 coupon from the company. They won $200. The company gets. They won $300. The company keeps 100 because they keep twice the amount they gave. That's basically what they keep in this. In this requirement of the coupon because it's a big amount. So they're making 100, like always. They're making twice the amount, but the customer made 200 and they didn't spend anything. They didn't put anything in. They only did is just pick the team, and at 400%, the team wins. Customer just made $200, but the company made 100 and makes 100 every time there's a win. Every time there's a win, a company gets an additional 100, and they're not putting anything else. They're not losing any money. It benefits the betting platforms. They have it set up this way. So that means that the customer loses, then the betting platform, on behalf of the customer, pays to the same betting platform employee that picked out a team. They don't lose anything. If the customer wins, they direct that win towards not a customer that picked out a team, or to the fund of customers that picked out a team, pay out from that fund, and then collect from that fund for themselves $100. Every time there's a win, the company gets 100. Every time there's a win. And if it's a loss, the company doesn't lose anything because they're paying it to themselves. Because they're directing it to the fund that they have, when they picked out a team. And so it evens it out because they gave a credit. And then, so the company doesn't lose any money, but in return, so many people appreciate the company, the betting platform company, for sending them $50 or for being a customer and saying, come and put a bet, on any team you like. You have an opportunity to win some money. But then the requirements is we collect twice the amount back. But you have to pick on 200% or more. You cannot pick on 100%. So they have to wait in a game where the percentage of the odds goes 200 or more. And so sometimes they go even 500%, the potential of it. If it goes 500%, but I'm just using as an example. So, 200%, 400%, 400%, 200% it's 150. Am I doing my math correctly? 200% is 150. And 300%. Anyways, it's a big amount. It's sometimes it's confusion. I guess 300%, you add another 50 to it. It's one of those things. It's like for every 100%, you add another 50. So here's my math. Okay. 100%, you get an additional 50. Okay, 100%. So if you put a 50, if you picked it on 100%, you get an additional 50. 200%, an additional 50. 300%, an additional 50. 400%, an additional 50. So we got 100%, there'll be 100. 200%, 150. 300. So So 200%, 150. 300%, 200. 400%, 250. So I don't know where I got that 300 from. 250. So, okay, 250. Okay. My math sometimes, 250. All right. So 250. So once again, let's do the count. We put a 50 at 100%, you get another 50. So that's 100. On 200, you get another 50. 150 becomes at 300, 200. At 400, 250. Okay, so at 400%, is 250. So subtract the 100, 150 is the profit. 150, not 200. Okay, so the correct math. Once they subtract 100 from that for the company, for giving you the free credit, for giving the customer free credit, 150. The customer makes 150. And so for every 100% added is another 50, another 50, another 50. So sometimes, and the percentages sometimes, you never know. We have to watch the game. But a lot of times at 200, a lot of times it goes to 200. So there's always games to pick at 200 plus. So the requirement is really a legit requirement. It's really a reasonable requirement in a coupon to say, you have to pick a team at 200%. And if you win, we'll collect twice the amount we gave you. So instead of just keeping the 50, we'll keep 100. But if you picked it at 200, you win as 150. So you're getting $50 just for being a customer if your team wins. But the company's making 100 at the same time, and they're not losing anything as long as everything's set up correctly. So it benefits the company so much to bring more people, or just even for people to have extra money to spend if they win, and the customer feels appreciated that they're not getting this, a fake coupon, not a fake coupon. They send you a coupon that says, you won $1 credit, but then in the fine print, this is DraftKings, how low it became. I don't know what happened with them. $1 credit, and then the fine print says, but it's only if you wager $100. So sometimes you're not even sure. You think it's still a credit. You log in and it still says, yeah, it's not. You didn't get $1. No, you have to spend 100, and after you spend 100, we'll give you $1. They say. I don't know who came up with this. It's like one of the worst offers you can ever make. It's ridiculous. It really is. I mean, you know how easy for a person to lose $1 to the company. All they have to do on 20 cents, press on a casino game, press 5 spins, and they lost $1 to the company. 5 spins on the 20 cents. And 20 cents. And sometimes, sometimes you have to go through 5 spins and you win nothing. Sometimes you go through 5 spins and you get 10 cents win. And then you go through 6 spin and eventually they get $1 right away. I mean, but what if it's on $1? Just one spin. And sometimes for $1, you have to go through like 4 or 5 spins before you win anything. And that's $4 or $5 right to the company. I mean, it's so easy for them to get this $1. It just amazes me who came up with this. It's horrible. This horrible coupon idea of saying you're a customer. Here, we'll send you a pretend coupon that makes you think it's a credit, but it's not. And then once you find out, you have to actually waste $100 before we actually give you $1. And it's like, it's just unbelievable. But before, I mean, they had once in a while, rarely, but once in a while they'll send you a $10 credit. Say, here's a $10 credit, use on, a casino game or a bet. And that was reasonable. You think, what happened to those days? That was before. Now it's, waste 100, we'll give you $1. And it's like, I just hope they realize, I hope that every betting platform realizes the idea of send $50 to customers. When everything's set up correctly, they'll appreciate your company for giving them that opportunity. And if they win, they'll be happy with the win. And the company is going to make so much money. And there's no loss to the company. I mean, that's the best idea right there ever. The company is losing nothing except gaining more opportunity for people if they win. Let's say they picked it up, 900%. Let's say they won, much more, and they might want to pick some other teams to win, and the company has an opportunity to make more money that way, right? Well, I mean, I guess in the casino games, they might play some casino games as a result of it, so the company might have more chance of making more money that way. As long as they don't turn off those games, that's another thing. As long as they don't turn off those games on people. I always hope that they're always supervised, when it comes to that, they don't turn them off. Sometimes, you're playing a game and you won before and you think that, just hope they didn't turn it off, and then it gives you the idea that they did turn it off and it's just nothing. And it's like, well, maybe they'll turn it back on, and it's like, and you feel so horrible. And I just hope they regulate that somehow, so they just will not turn off casino games on customers. That's the worst thing ever, because then you can just be losing money to them and there's no win. It's just different topic there, but that's another thing. But something to warn. It's like, anyone out there, be really careful when it comes to it. Sometimes they can just turn them off and you can be putting money and nothing. Just nothing. Sometimes just a few tiny 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents or whatever, $1 there, $1 there, and then that's it. But you spend it like $100, $200 or something. And it's ridiculous how they can just, different topic of it. But anyways, I'm hoping it could be regulated. And, but when it comes to the free bets, I mean, when it comes to, it's up to them. And then on the casino, obviously, they're not making any money. So, but just to use it as a free bet, that's where they're going to make the money. So if it's just a free bet on a team and not a casino game, not to use in a casino game, it says that obviously if the customer wins, they'll have money to spend in a casino game as long as they're not turned off. That's the only thing. I hope it's regulated somehow. Otherwise, so much money is stolen from people all the time. If they turn them off, Anyways, this is Markov saying, God bless everyone. God bless everyone. From a Christian perspective, it's an opportunity sometimes to make some money, to pay off some bills, and sometimes and not get stuck in just wasting money, because sometimes, some people get stuck in it and they end up losing everything they had, and they feel so bad. It's like, what? And sometimes the mind gets turned off, and you can't think of, what am I going to do with this money? I always look at it as credit cards. If you have those, over so much money that you owe in credit cards, after you win, use some of it, just pay off your credit cards right away, and you feel so much better. The idea is not to be stuck in the mind of just playing until you lose everything and feel horrible. The idea is you win a lot, a lot of it used to pay off your debt so you can feel better. You know, some of it maybe, you know, a little bit, I guess you can always leave, or some of it, whatever, it depends on the experience and stuff. There's potential to win some more over time, right? But from a Christian perspective, it shouldn't be just being stuck in it and then to a point where you then eventually lose everything and feel horrible. No, you want to really, once you win a lot of it, use a lot of it to pay off your debt and feel good about it. And then eventually, whatever you left behind to play with, if you lose that part of it, you still will feel always good about it because you know that you paid off your debt, you paid off your credit cards. Now you can, you know, go shopping and feel good about yourself because your credit card is paid off. You can buy something. See, at the moment that you're playing, you're not thinking about anything, right? But always remember, you have those credit cards. Pay them off with that half of what you win. Just don't forget it. If you forget about it, you get stuck in playing and then end up losing everything and feel horrible. Don't end up being that way. You know, don't end up in that situation. If you win a lot of money, pay off all your credit cards, and then if you have some extra to play with, that's different. But then whatever happens to that extra, you know, if you lose it, you still feel good, knowing that you paid off your credit cards, and that's really the whole idea is to pay something off and not be stuck in a game. Is being stuck in a game and end up losing everything. It's a horrible feeling, But to be wise and to right away when you win, use some of it to pay off your debt. That's really the right thing to do. So then you feel good, and then even eventually if you end up losing whatever you left to play with, you still feel good. You know that you paid off your credit cards, and you know to feel better. For some people that like to shop, then you just go shopping and feel better, so much better. Even though you lost what you set aside to play with, but you have money to spend on the economy and buy something that you always wanted. Amen. Hallelujah. Glory be to God. Always to be responsible. It's the idea is to be real careful, not to end up losing a lot of money, but to be real careful and to, if you win, keep some of it to continue playing, and some of it use wisely as a resource. And but anyways, going back, that's crucial. That's crucial from a Christian perspective. But at the same time, for the company itself, the benefits are that they could be making so much money. They could be making so much money based on if people win. And if people don't win, they don't lose anything because they don't lose anything in that sense of it. Because they redirect. They don't lose anything because they're paying themselves for the loss. Because they bet against the customer. Because their employees bet against the customer from their fund. So they're basically paying back into their fund. So there's no loss for the company whatsoever. But it really creates this prestige, this luxury feel, you treat it like a royal customer, customers, and the customers appreciate that. Customers will come back to the casino that says here's $50 free bet, or the betting platform that says here's $50 free bet. Especially if they win, $300 and, or $200 or $150, or even just the 50 itself. If they just win the 50 itself, but by putting the bet on 200%, just for, being a customer, that's nice thank you, appreciation. But it helps, if people have to pick, a betting platform, they would pick that particular betting platform. They would appreciate that betting platform more. If the other one sends them a coupon for $1, waste $100 on us, we'll give you $1 back. It's like the worst ever coupon you can ever send to a customer. I mean, it's like, and they make it look like it was a credit, that they actually got a credit, but it's not. It's like, it boggles my mind. Who came up with this stuff? I mean, with all the ways that they're making so much money from everybody, right? But that's a different topic of it. I mean, but the idea is if you're making a lot of money and you have money in your fund to spend on sending coupons, but if you come up with a more better situation, having more money coming to you into your fund or whatever, but it benefits everybody. It benefits the customer, it benefits the company. I have to be careful the careful side is, I want to encourage a person. At the same time, it's just, you have to be careful in the sense not to get too carried away and get stuck in it, and you want to be responsible and use the winnings wisely. All the time, wisely. Separate some of it to continue playing, but use a lot of it to pay off debt. Amen. Try to kind of combine everything together. The benefits for the company, the benefits for the person, And then for the customer, the idea is not to get carried away with it, but to be careful all the time. But at the same time, if you pick a team and you win, it's a win-win for everybody. The company wins, the customer wins. I just hope that people would really go for that idea. I hope that the companies, all betting platforms, would go for that $50 coupon with minimum 200% odds requirement. And of course they can collect twice. So that's money coming to them from every win. It's the perfect coupon for the customers that they have. It's definitely. People would use that company and come back to that company, and the company not losing anything to give them that coupon. That's an incredible just benefit of it all when it comes to this opportunity that the betting platforms have. To have more customers, to have more money coming in, and not lose anything. But at the same time, the customers are actually making money if they win and are happy, and so everyone's happy. Everyone's happy that way. Glory be to God. Lord, we follow the Holy Spirit. And of course, there's those that that just be careful. As a Christian, I should be careful. But the teams are based on performance. If you think the team is going to do really well, and you just appreciate that their skill, their talent, right? And you say, I think this team's going to perform well, is going to win. And you put some money on it. There's no sin in that. There's no sin in that. It's like a stock, and the percentages go up and down, just like stocks. When you buy stocks, a company does really well, the percentages go up. The company does, not so well, but there's a potential with doing really well eventually, and you have this feeling, well, the stocks are a little cheaper. So it's one of those things. It's the same thing in performance. The team's playing so-and-so, but they have a feeling they're going to do really well. So there's that opportunity. The percentages are just right, and you put your money in it. It's the same as stock. There's no sin in buying stock. There's no sin, there's no sin in putting money on performance. And I covered it before in my other recording, my other audio. There's no sin in the sense of putting money on a team, on the performance of a team. And of course there's risk. The same with stocks. You can pick a company that you thought is going to do well, and they go bankrupt, and then all of your stocks you lose value, and you're stuck with nothing. So, once again, this stocks concept is such a long-term process. Sometimes you pick a team, you have to wait years for it to build up, years for the value to go up. But with the benefit of putting money on the performance of a team, on a sports team, it's instant. It's within a few hours or an hour, and and if they do really well as you thought they would, then the payout is there and you get paid right away. You'd have to wait years and years and years, but it's the same investment concept. It's the same investment process. So there's no sin in it, but to be careful and not get carried away with it and not to lose all your money. That's obviously, you have to make sure you have a separate budget. If everybody could, the idea is to have a separate budget for it, and then to wait until next payday to replenish that budget. So every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever it might be, there's a certain budget that's set aside, and you use that just to invest and see what happens. And of course, if you win, another idea is the extra from that budget, take for yourself, and keep the same amount that you have set for the budget to try again. So let's say your budget is $100 a month, for example, right? Let's say you win $200. Well, you can always just take the $100 and use it to pay something off, and keep that $100 as you had it as a budget, right? And then that's one option of it. It's, but of course it depends. If there's something there's many scenarios, right? If you think that they might win, do you want to put both on it? But at the same time, there's a risk, right? So you can always create a budget where there's a certain amount that you have, and that's what you're going to spend. Anything extra you take and you pay off things. And that, so it's one of those options, I guess. Now, I don't know if everybody, it's really preference, but it's a safe option. You in a certain amount that you have, and you use that always to see what happens. And of course, if you end up losing it, you have to replenish it. But at the same time, anything extra from it, you always keep to yourself. So in a sense, it's a nice way of being safe that way. Not end up in losing all your money and having nothing. That's one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to be in that situation. You want to be responsible in the sense of have a separate budget for it. And if anything, anything you would extra take and use it for other things and keep the same budget and use it again and again and again. That's one way of doing it. A safer way of doing it. And of course, if that budget runs out, then next payday you replenish the budget. or something like that. One of those things. However people want to do it. Or replenish it right away. Probably the next payday would be better. Depends how much money they won. I guess if you win a lot of money after a few times, if you win a lot of money, then of course you can replenish it right away, right? You had a little budget and you lost it. Okay, you replenished it again. But if you didn't win a lot of money and you have to, you want just some of it and you use it up on some other things, well, maybe it's best to wait until your payday and then replenish the budget, right? One of those things. A lot of technicalities. I think I covered everything on it. So yes, it's not a sin. It's not a sin, but to be responsible is crucial. Not to lose everything, because if you lose everything, you end up being hurt. Person ends up being hurt. Person ends up being hurt, and you don't want to be, you don't want to be in that situation. So obviously, it's just common sense logic. But it's not a sin, in investing in performance. Performance is the performance of a team, performance of a company, and once again, the stocks and bonds. People know that concept. You invest in performance. It's never a sin. It's not a sin. So it's a beautiful thing to be always aware of that, but not get carried away and lose all your money and be stuck with nothing. That's a horrible situation to be in. Definitely don't want to be in that situation. So there's always ideas of coming up with, a budget either, even after you win a lot of money, you can maybe make the budget a little bit bigger, but then take a lot of it out and pay things off. The best idea is anything you owe, pay it off. That's the best thing. So then you always feel good. As a result of it, you paid off your debt, you have more money in your credit history is improving, you have more money to spend with your credit cards, and you feel good about it. Whatever you want to get out there, help you stir up the economy. You're making the economy better by buying things you always always wanted. It's a win-win for everybody. Once again, glory be to God always. Amen. Hallelujah. This is Markov saying, God bless everyone.